The front cover of the New York Post, it says, outrage as FBI targets angry moms. It has a picture of the moms that are protesting CRT and mask mandates in schools. Right. Are these domestic terrorists, with a question mark? Because the National School Boards Association sent a letter to Joe Biden asking him for assistance to treat parents, or to actually look into what these parents are doing. And Merrick Garland, who is our AG, got involved in this and called in the FBI to investigate.
Yeah, you got to wonder what kind of Supreme Court justice he would have been. This guy's been totally compliant and a political animal almost from the day he took the job. And he's using the DOJ as he's weaponized the whole thing. So with the border being flooded with illegal immigrants, with crime running rampant through the streets of America, with the funding, with police being defunded, let's crack down on parents who are upset of the anti-American agenda being jammed down the throats of children in far too many cities.
Well, you know what? If at the local level a parent is threatening or intimidating a school board member, or there's an act of violence, as we talked about yesterday, absolutely,
police should be called, right.
The police should be there, but it's the local police who should handle it. Ultimately, what it looks like is the Biden administration is helping teachers' unions intimidate parents who essentially object to the policies that they disagree with, whether it's CRT or masks or anything else like that. So ultimately, it's intimidating. Brian, you use weaponizing, absolutely right. What it does is you get the feeling, if I argue with a school board member at a school board meeting tomorrow, it could be the feds. Don't make it a federal case. Investigate actual crime. And if there are threats or intimidation, go after that. But the local cops can do that.
Well, it seems like a double standard, because when you watch what's happening to Kristen Sinema, and
Absolutely.
she's being followed into the bathroom, where it's illegal to do that at the university, at ASU, and they're not sending in the FBI to investigate that person who's doing this to her. So it makes it seem like, at least to these parents who are complaining, that they're only going after them because the Democrats want to push through critical race theory. They want to make everyone wear a mask and get vaccinated, and they don't like the message of these parents, and they want to silence them.
So here's Senator Josh Hawley yesterday having a chance to grill the deputy AG. Merrick Garland should be coming soon, but until then, it's this matchup.
Is parents waiting sometimes for hours to speak at a local school board meeting to express concerns about critical race theory or the masking of their students, particularly young children? Is that in and of itself, is that harassment and intimidation?
Spirited debate is welcome, is a hallmark of this country. It's something we all should engage in. And
no, I don't think so, Ms. Monaco. With all due respect, it didn't make it quite clear. It doesn't define those terms, nor does it define harassment or intimidation. If this isn't a deliberate attempt to chill parents from showing up at school board meetings for their elected school boards, I don't know what is. I mean, I'm not aware of anything like this in American history. We're talking about the FBI. You're using the FBI to intervene in school board meetings. That's extraordinary. Why is it being investigated by the FBI?
It is not. When and if any situation turns to violence, then that is the appropriate role of law enforcement to address it.
You can't point to a single instance where anything like this has happened before, and I think parents across this country are going to be stunned to learn, stunned, that if they show up at a local school board meeting, by the way, where they have the right to appear and be heard, and you are attempting to intimidate them, you are attempting to silence them, you are attempting to interfere with their rights as parents, and yes, with their rights as voters. This is wrong. This is dangerous.
You know, so many will not show up because of that exchange. They'll say, listen, I'd like to go. I got 3 kids at home. I really can't afford to spend the night in jail if I get too emotional or if I'm deemed too emotional. The New York Post writes in their editorial today, President Biden once again broke his campaign commitment to keep the Department of Justice non-political. And critics are saying, calling the Attorney General Merrick Garland's latest directive to the FBI to investigate threats of violence at school board meetings a clear move to politicize the DOJ. Does anyone argue with that? I guess the FBI is free now. now because the Russia hoax has no longer taken up their agenda. So they do have some time to do things like this, I guess.
Well, and critics say that Joe Biden broke another campaign promise because he said he wouldn't let politics get involved with the DOJ on the campaign trail.
Well, down in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis said yesterday, Florida will defend the free speech rights of its citizens and will not allow federal agents to squelch the dissent in Florida, and will not allow federal agents to squelch dissent, as I said, because I typed it twice right there. 25 years later, I'm typing things twice. Anyway, speaking of Florida, down in Sarasota, a member of the school board, Bridget Ziegler, said, you got to remember, in the United States of America, you've got the right to say your piece, and that's got to be protected. Here she is last night on Fox News at Night.
No acts of violence or threats should ever be tolerated, and I believe local law enforcement has been quick to respond, and I believe in their ability to do so. But this act by the National School Board Association, which is a taxpayer-funded lobbying group, to go to this end, to me, is, again, chilling effect and intended to silence and intimidate parents. The right to petition your government is a fundamental right that needs to be protected. And that is, to me, what I believe school boards across the country have been braced with for the first time in a long time, where they're hearing from parents who weren't necessarily aware of what kind of things were being taught or what kind of material or some of the progressive social agendas.
And she's on the school board, and she's a mother of 3.
And that brings us back to the original image that Ainsley held up. Are these domestic terrorists? These are just moms protesting what's going on in their schools. And isn't that protected?
And protesting what's going on with this administration.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.